just your average everyday trucker, keeping it real. I'm your host, Chris Blodgett, and you're listening to Real Talk Tuesday.
Hey guys, apologies for the brief absence. I had a little bit of a change in my schedule. Thought about doing a regular Real Talk Tuesday episode, but a lot of stuff was just, in flux at the moment. But got a couple of recordings done, so I'm back. So stay tuned for the current episode of the Keeping It Real segment.
This call is now being recorded.
Hey, man, how's it going?
Hey, going pretty good, man. How you doing?
You know how it is, man. Had to adapt.
Yeah, another day, another dollar.
Yeah, last week, because my normal route has been coming in like 1:30, 2 o'clock in the morning, and I haven't really been on a set route or anything. So it's like but the line haul managers, you could kind of tell, when you're dependable. And so like the managers kind of show they appreciate you or whatever. So back in Nashville, I never called out. I was always there, but I probably didn't work a full week too often back there because I would, there are days that I was even told by my manager, hey, go ahead, yeah, you're going to be running such and such. Okay. I would do the 20-minute freaking commute to come into work only to be told by line haul, like, I don't know why you told you that. We don't have anything for you. I said, okay. So I turn around and drive back home. But since coming up here in June, so what, like 6 months now, I think we're going on. It's been pretty consistent. Like I haven't missed a day at all. Like I've come in and, it might not be the same run all the time, but I would come in and sometimes it's like, hey, we're pretty slow, but we're going to send you down to like Pittsburgh, Pittsburgh, Kansas for to grab like 2 empties and a dolly or something. I was like, all right, cool, Sometimes the miles weren't the greatest, but that was something I was working,
Yeah.
Versus like some miles are better than zero, so that's kind of paychecks fluctuate a little bit, but I was not missing an entire day, so that was pretty awesome. But last Thursday night, after working at least 2 nights, and I was running Tuesday through Saturday, I came in Thursday night and literally didn't have anything assigned, which is pretty normal, So I'd call and be like, hey, how's it going? If I got like one of the managers, usually they would always find something. But like this other guy, Steven or whatever, for the most part, he actually would find stuff too. But then like I don't know what was going on that night because I didn't have anything assigned, and I called in and it was like, hey, FedEx and Steven, how can I help you? Hey, Steven, it's Blodgett, just checking in with you. I don't, oh yeah, we don't know what we're gonna have tonight. Why don't you go ahead and just hang tight, like just hang out. It's like, all right, cool. I'm gonna hang out here in the parking lot before I check in with security, just to make sure that I don't go all the way to the truck only to come back out.
Mm-hmm.
So I waited till probably about like 2:15 and hadn't heard anything. So I called back again, and of course, like, hey, Steven, how's it going? What's going on? Is it pretty slow? He goes, yeah, unfortunately, yeah. Go ahead, head back home. I'm like, oh, okay. I was like, well, first time for everything. I was like, I've been here since June, and this is the first time you guys didn't have anything for me, which is fine. It's better than what I was dealing with back there. So he was, yeah, pretty much. Sorry, man. I'm like, no worries. So I kind of hung out, figured, well, I'm going to keep the same schedule, so I'm not, like, going to bed right now when I'm going to come in tomorrow at, like, 2 in the morning again. So went home, or stopped at Denny's, grabbed some food, to take home or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Got home and watched some Netflix for a couple hours, told my wife I had to get up to go to work herself. And then pretty much on that day, it was like, I'd call and talk to my manager pretty much just to let him know. I wasn't expecting there to be any kind of change. I was like, hey, by the way, to let you know, like, I came in last night, they didn't have anything, and so I texted him, and he texted back. He's like, wow. He goes, really? I'm like, yeah. Well, he goes, yeah, that's really weird. I'm like, what's going on? He's like, they've been telling me all week that they've been slammed and could use all the help they could get. So I was like, well, that is kind of weird because I was there. Like, he's like, well, so would you be up for doing, like showing up to do a run from Lenexa to St. Louis tonight and tomorrow night? And I'm like what time? He goes, like 5:30, like 6 o'clock or whatever. You take off by 6:30. I'm like, sure. I was like, I kind of had plans to. I said, I haven't slept yet. I was planning to come in tonight. He goes, well, go to sleep now. I was like, I can't. I got shit I got to take care of. I said, but I can still get a nap before coming in. So yeah, I'll do it. And he's like, well, here's something to think about. Depending on like run it tonight, tomorrow night, see what you think. If you want to do that run full time, it's a 6-day run. They only do one trailer usually. Usually the rail yard trailers. And because I've been shuffling people around to get it covered pretty much daily or whatever. And he's like, I would have put you on it before, but part of why I didn't is because it's out of another hub. But you can bobtail from Kansas City to Lenexa to pick it up, and then when you come back, just bobtail back to Kansas City, so that way you're not using your gas or whatever. I was like, huh, all right. So I did like the first day, and of course, like before I even left, when I was up there, I told him, I was like, I mean, it sounds like I would be, it's like 3,000 miles a week, 500 miles 6 days versus like before. I don't even think I was hitting 2,000, per week doing what I was doing before. So I'm like, that's quite a pay bump. So I was like, I'll. He's like, yeah, talk to me on Sunday. We'll figure something out. I'm like, all right, cool. So Sunday I texted him. I was like, hey, so what do you think? Am I running that St. Louis run? He goes, well, do you want to be on it? Like, it's up to you. If you want it, it's yours. I was like, yeah, I'll do it. Kind of told the wife, I said, I was hesitant mainly because of like, like it really was compared to what I was doing before, just time wise. Yeah, I knew it didn't sound like I was gonna have like time off too much, like downtime during the day to hang out with fam.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm losing the day off, so I'm only gonna literally be off Sunday. So like I ran Friday and Saturday on this run. I was off Sunday, and then I was back at it Monday. And so like I work tonight and I work tomorrow, and then I'm off my Sunday and then basically back on Monday again. So that part kind of sucks, but because I really I didn't really sleep a whole lot this last couple of days because of flipping back from overnight run to a night run, like working late but not working until like noon. So I think Sunday I got home and I think I probably got home like 7-ish, mainly because of the fact that I ran later those 2 days because I was switching back from a overnight, like a graveyard shift. I got home at like 7:30 on Sunday, grab a shower. Instead of going to take a nap or whatever, I basically stayed up, took the wife out to a park or something to go, like, take a long walk or whatever, and hung out. Like, I actually fell asleep on the couch late at night when I was trying to enjoy my drinks or whatever, for my one day off. My daughter's like, yeah, Dad, like, you felt like you were asleep for, like, half an hour on the couch, like, 11:30 at night store, and I thought it was Mom, but I came out in the hallway, and I realized it was down the hall. It was you, and I was like, and so, like, you got to remember, I usually cannot sleep at all without my CPAP. She was, I was wondering, but I was out. I didn't have a CPAP. I was storing like a freight train apparently. And I'm like, yeah, I was like awake for 32 hours by that point. I'm like, yeah, this week I kind of did things a little bit differently, trying to make, get at least somewhat regular sleep. It's not a lot. It's still like 7 hours, 6.5, 7.5 hours. I'm trying to at least be consistent with it so I don't go into the weekend on deprivation.
Yeah.
But it's tough because, like, what's funny is my daughter's working at McDonald's, my 17-year-old, and she's like, today, because they started, because she's showing that she's kind of like, she's got a good work ethic already, showing up for her shifts on time, working her shifts, whatever. So they're starting to have her work longer days. So, like, not instead of like 4 or 5 hours here, they're having her come in at 2, work until 10, and she, today, when I, because they gave her permission to be late too, because like the scheduler at 2, and I'm like, she's like, can you pick me up at school at 1? Because otherwise I'll get home on the bus, I'll have to go right to work. And I was like, I'll try, but if I get home late enough, I can't get up at like 12:30 when I'm going to bed at 6. Like, I have to probably wake up at like 2 so I can make sure I'm sleeping at least enough. Her manager was like, yeah, that's fine, because she explained it to her, and she's like, yeah, that's fine, don't worry about it. I understand you, like, your dad's your ride or whatever. And then your mom picks you up at night. So just, as long as you get here by 3, that's fine. Don't worry about it. Just, get here between 2 and 3, and you're not going to be, penalized. And so when I go to sleep, I usually be like, hey, Zoe, by the way, I'm setting my alarm for like 2:15, or if it's like yesterday afternoon, I think it was like 2:25, because it was cold as shit, so I ended up doing one of those where you get in there telling yourself, I'm going to do a really quick hot shower. Yeah, it doesn't work.
No.
You get in there, it feels so fucking amazing. Oh my god.
Yeah.
So,
Man, sometimes
so
you just need that mental relaxation from it,
Yep, because then it's like a little bit later than what you planned, so it's like 7 a.m. before I'm laying down. So I was like, hey, so my alarm will be set for 2:25. We'll get you there by 3, don't worry, And walking out the door with her, she's like, I really thought about calling out today, because I really don't. My oldest is like, now you see how we feel when we go to work, huh? And I'm like, now you see why I'm doing shit on the side to try to, like, make it to where I can back away from what I'm doing, or at least step away a little bit. Like, my oldest is like, well, if I was a millionaire, I would still work. And I'm like, yeah, and I'd still drive, because I said when I came off the road and worked at Publix for 6 months, I thought I came off of driving altogether.
Yeah.
Except for, like, driving the personal vehicle. But I told her, it's like, I was still having freaking dreams about being out here in the semi,
Yeah. You know what I'd like, man, if I was a millionaire or rich enough to do it, I'd like to travel, like, U.S., like, hit every state and, like, just spend a couple days in every state and just see, 'cause I haven't traveled too much. Born and raised in Alabama, went to New Orleans after high school, then moved back after Katrina hit. And I flew to Seattle to help a buddy move all his stuff back to Alabama, and then, of course, now I'm in Michigan. And so I'd like to travel. I gotta get healthy enough to live long enough. Hell, I was in the hospital, almost went into diabetic coma over the weekend. And so
because of
I have
your sugar level being too low, or
yeah, man, I haven't been taking care of myself. Man, I've been sick and unhealthy for many years. And I think what happened, man, is, like 11, 12 years ago, man, I ended up getting hurt because I used to work, and, I ended up getting hurt. So I ended up being like a stay-home dad and stuff. And, man, I think over time, I kept getting worse, but I think part of the reason that I kept getting worse with stuff was, I ended up getting in a mind frame. I got stuck in a mind frame of like, I can't get no better. Things are always going to be like this. And so, man, because of that, I actually can just continuously got worse and ended up having a heart attack. And then now this situation here. And so, and then find out too with like, last week or the same weekend, I guess that's what kind of stressed me out a little bit and hit the button. The wife finally said she was done with it. And I can't blame her too, man, because, you know, she's had all the burden and everything on her. And so, man, it's been hell, like really bad hell for like the past this week and a little bit of the week before. And so, and you know, before I got COVID last year, or no, this year. I mean, so I had started something that like I was gonna call it the journey, and it's still happening. But man, it's gonna be done different. Like, you know, I'm doing stuff on YouTube. Like I just got through with a mental health walk because, man, you know, I had to. You know, when you go through something like this, you know, your brain's racing and you just can't sleep. So I ended up going for a mental health walk and done like a little recording, put it on YouTube, and I mean, I'm making it still gonna be called The Journey. It's an album working on with Fame and stuff, but basically, man, you know, I'm getting my stuff right. You know, I'm gonna eat healthy. You know, it's basically, man, what this journey is me just becoming a better man. You know, being a man, period. Because for that, man, I was just existing. I wasn't doing much of nothing. Basically, just being a dad, and that's about it.
And so I know that's a big part of why I want to, you know, got the goals I'm working towards and stuff, because time freedom, which will help with the health, you know, so that way I can actually like have the time to actually do the things I want to do, like get in, you know, and then the financial freedom, you know, to, you know, basically work because you want to, not because you have to.
Yeah.
But like literally right now, like I feel like I'm kind of like, even though I'm not over the road, I'm still home every day, but I have kind of the same schedule as somebody who is over the road. You know, like run 6 days, get to the tail end of the 70-hour DOT clock, and then I take a 34-hour break. You know, I'm off for at least 34 hours to get that 70-hour clock back, and then I'm back in on Monday again. You know, thankfully I'm home during that time, but you know, it's like I'm just trying to make the most of it. But you know. So it's funny that when your other half tries to make plans, you know, like, well, like the grandkiddo, his birthday is on blah, 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 you know, because it's coming up on like the 3rd of next month or something. I think it's the 3rd. But, and she's like, well, and so we're making plans to like go, like because he wants a Mario theme. I think he's 37. Yeah, he's 37. They grew up too fast, man. Before last night, I mean, it seems like just yesterday he was like 3 or 4. And then he's kindergartner, and I think he's in 1st grade this year. So that was interesting, going to like the kindergarten graduation, you know, when they did graduations with the lower grades. Graduated 2nd grade. Oh, cool. Congratulations. But
I went to a PTA thing today, and it was with, they call it pastries with the ones you love, man, and schools have changed so different. Like I remember back when I was, like you'd have to walk through like a little kitchen area and they'd put your stuff on there kind of like you was in prison. Nowadays they just kind of like walk up to a counter like Burger King and then get a bag and walk away.
Do they? I remember. Yeah, I remember when we used to walk up with a tray and like you'd walk to the different. Like one day you'd have the little square little pizzas.
Yep, them things are so good though.
But then you'd have the ones that were like, they would just literally be called burger. Not hamburger. It'd just be called burger. And I made the mistake of getting that one day in high school. And I'm pretty sure it's like a roadkill burger because I took one bite and almost freaking got sick of it. I was like, whoa, what the hell is that? It's definitely not beef.
No, yeah, man, things have completely
my
changed.
Lunch a lot, you know. Until I was driving, then I actually usually would. I think I lived like in high school. I lived out in the country, so it took me about maybe like 10 minutes, 5 or 10 minutes to get home. And we had an hour for lunch, so it's like I would, go get my car and haul ass home, heat up something at home, hang out for about 15, 20 minutes or whatever, and then basically haul ass back to school.
Mm.
It's like when you're working a clock in like an hourly job where you have like your set time to take a break or whatever.
Yeah.
You have like you get 30 minutes for your lunch. Oh, cool. So you sit down, you eat, you kind of hang out, whatever, and then it's like before you know it, you're like, oh, gotta go clock back in, and of course you gotta go all the way to the back of the store where the time clock is. So you have to make sure to cut your break short by like 10 minutes just to be able to walk all the way back there to clock in time.
Right, yep.
So it's like I don't miss those days. I
No.
don't really clock in at my current.
Yeah, no, I remember all them clock ins, man. Yeah, before I got hurt, I remember them clock in things. I used to build trusses and or put together trusses. Like I'd build trusses and they'd ship them off to people to build, different houses, etc. and stuff like that. And
Oh yeah.
yeah, you have to get early because, man, I tell you what, you get some bosses that strict as hell. If you ain't on time, you late, or if you're on time, you late. I forget. Yeah.
Yep.
And
Thankfully,
so,
with my daughter's job, she has until like 3 minutes. She has like a 3-minute grace period. So if she's 4 minutes, past the hour or past when she's supposed to be there, then of course she's late. And I guess they have sounds like they evaluate it every 2 weeks. And as long as if you're late more than, I think it's if you're on time less than 70%, then basically you get like suspended without pay for a week. And then
man.
if the next time when they evaluate, if you're being late and you got a less than 70% on time, whatever, then I guess they'll actually let you go. But from what she told me, she said there was some of the kids, because I guess they hire a lot of high school kids.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess she's telling me one of her coworkers actually just came back from being let go because of being late too many times. She goes, so apparently it's possible to come back after you get fired for that. I'm like, yeah, but anytime I drop her off, literally we'll leave at like 5 minutes till the hour or whatever, or even sometimes it's like it'll be like she goes in at 4, it'll be like 3:56, 3:57, and I'll be like, because we're like maybe 2 miles away. So I'm like, no, come on, we gotta go. So we'll pull into McDonald's with it being like 4:02. I'm like, you got 1 minute, hurry up, run in there, clock in. She's like, oh yeah, I know. But
did McDonald's? I wonder. I heard, and I don't know if they ever actually did it, where McDonald's made it where they make the starting wage like $15 an hour. Did they do that?
they went up. They must have gone up because she's not making 15. I think she's at like 14.
Oh, okay.
But
That's help. That's
that's
still good
like,
though.
hell, my first job I was making 7.
I made $5.25 my first job.
Ooh, man.
$5.25. I worked at a landfill. I started working when I was 13.
Gotcha.
And then, but they kept me at minimum wage for as long as they could, man. I worked there for so long in my life, man. It was,
Yeah.
man, and so that's how I know,
Cheap labor,
man, I met a lot of truckers. Yeah, definitely free labor, man. And it's so weird though, because we worked at a landfill, but we didn't work at like a transfer station where they dropped off trash and stuff. Garbage.
Yeah.
It was only like a trash landfill. It's got to be biodegradable, or I guess that's the thing. Basically, you cover it up and eventually the earth will take care of it.
Gotcha.
But I used to have to take and walk around this like 70 something acre landfill picking up trash. Like there'd be papers and stuff flying everywhere. And so I had to walk around the landfill where people take the trash, pick up trash to make it clean. And it was like,
Gotcha.
you just have green hills wherever there wasn't, the trash being dumped and stuff. And then I would spend time, I'm either cutting grass, weed eating, picking up paper. Man, I used to sing a song, picking up paper, waiting on the wind to change, and so put a little John Mayer out there with my own little twang to it. And, we had a whole bunch of people walking one day with me picking it up because every now and then it gets so bad you get more. And I started singing, and it ended up being a chant. Whenever we all get out there, we just start singing the song, and it ended up being pretty cool.
Sounds pretty awesome.
Job sucked, but the people were cool.
Yep. But it's funny when the kids, you know, it's like I could tell there's been a shift in my 17-year-old. I could tell she was always, she was already decent with money because I pay her every week for like allowance, whatever. Like if she makes like, part of her stipulation for that is that she has to like help out around the house, like do litter boxes, trashes, and just help me in general, you know. And so there'll be things that she's expected to do, and then there's things that she, you know, that like around the house. If I'm like, I'll start on my day off or whatever, I might be like, because we have hard floors everywhere, so I might go grab the broom and be working my way around the upstairs, like all the different rooms to like sweep the floors first, and then go get the mop or whatever, and like. I'll come into her room a little bit. Like, she'll be at her computer. I'll come in partially into her room because otherwise she'll have stuff on her floor. I'll come, like, maybe 5 feet into her room, the area that goes right out in like, in the main hallway. I'll come in and sweep that initial area. I said, I'm not doing your whole room. I'm just doing this part. She'll get up and all of a sudden start helping. But, you know, it's, like, definitely a good head on her shoulders, and you can totally tell after she's been working the past 2 weeks or so now with McDonald's that, like, you know, there's already that shift on, like, she realizes it's not easy doing what we have to do to be able to make a paycheck and pay the bills or whatever. Trying to coach her a little bit because, you know, she got her – McDonald's is bi-weekly. Like, they pay every 2 weeks. I'm like, that sucks.
Yeah.
So, but she's like, I don't try to figure out – like, try to decide what to do with my paycheck, you know, because I just got paid. And I was like, don't think that – just because you have money in your account that you have to spend it. I was like, you know, like if there's things you want, go for it. You know, like if you absolutely want something, you know, and you have the money to do it, you don't have bills, so like then get something that you really want, but don't think, hey, I'm gonna go shopping just because I have the money in my account. Like try to put something away in your Cash App savings account or whatever. You know, it's like, and then don't touch it unless you absolutely need to. You know, so it's like so it's a work in progress, but like she's 17, so I figure like obviously like I'm just trying to do the approach where I'm like giving her advice, but then trying to like then step back and be like, but she's gonna do what she's gonna do, so I'm not gonna.
Yeah, man, you know it's even hard saving for hell. There's people that's you know past retirement age that still don't know how to save, man. You know. Financial budgeting, you know, managing money is very hard. I mean, you know, it's like anything else, you know, it's like sticking to a diet, you know, sticking to a workout regimen or, you know, you know, thing about life though, man, is people want things, you know, you got to have some kind of enjoyment and stuff. And it's kind of like, when do you draw the line at which stuff, you know?
Well, like, like I don't know, like I don't know if you've heard of I'm sure you have Dave Ramsey.
Yeah.
That
Yeah. Oh man.
Where he talks.
Yeah.
Yeah, he talks about like you got the financial nerds and then you got the financial free spirits. And I always joke around saying that like between me and my wife, I'm the nerd because like literally I get paid and the I'll pay stuff. I think I get paid by like Thursday nights. So, like the way I approach it, I'll pay stuff during my work week that absolutely has to get paid like right now. But otherwise, I try to like whatever I can put off and hold off till Sunday, like or my day off, whenever so that way I have a moment to stop and think about it. You know, like all right, what do I have to do? Then you know I try to do it that way. But like my wife's the opposite. She gets paid and it's what do I need to do? Like we need this for the house, we need this for the kids, we need this for the cats. And then, you know, I'm always like, well, make sure you're putting some aside for your gas because she has to commute. And she does, from what it sounds like, she does a pretty good job. But it's she told me the other day that her best friend in Texas or whatever that she talks to pretty much every day. I guess she'd I guess he sent her $20 or something. She's like, yeah, I had to like ask Rob if he would help me out with $20, and I paid him back when I got paid. I'm like, well, for her. She's like, because I needed gas or whatever. I was like, oh, okay, whatever. I mean, he didn't say shit to me, so I don't know. Like, but and I try to hold on to funds for when I'm going into work week too, so that way I know that I can, I could get like coffee and food for the first at least for however many days until I get paid again. I plan it out like that because especially coming out here, it's like you being a trucker, it's like you literally need to be able to get the things you need to get, and hell, we're given crap all the time by like family members that know us that we have our paychecks go in a separate account because she has hers go to Cash App and I've got Sophie. And people are like, why don't you need to have like a joint account? Well, like we do have a joint account, but we just don't have like her check goes to her account, my check goes to mine, and then we coordinate anything that we need to coordinate. But otherwise, like I'm handling the bills for the most part, and she's handling pretty much anything that we need to replace at home. But we had to go that route, because she and I had a fight a while back, like because of something happened that we had to come back from, one of those like marital situations that. We had to come back from, but she was under the impression that like I wanted to be away from home, when I was gone for like a couple weeks at a time. I thought you wanted to be away from home and blah blah blah. That and I was like, hell no. I was like, every time I came home, it was great. Then I'd go back on the road, and I was depressed for like 3 or 4 days because I was leaving her, leaving the grandson, leaving the kids. It would take me a couple of days to get back in the groove out here, and then, I do my 2 weeks, and I would come back home for a weekend.
Yeah.
But part of it when we were, talking about money and stuff, about having, because we were fighting about like, oh, like I have to pay this bill, or like trying to figure out how to feed everybody back here. Like, I mean, she's like, my mom says this about us that we should have a joint account. Like, why is it that we have to do this? I was like, well, love, because I have to make sure that I can do what I need to do out here. She's like, I just don't understand. Like, love, like, there were times when I first started, I was with Schneider. Well, I was with Sierra England first, but then, of course, I was with Schneider. Was like my first actual, where I was working and actually felt like I was getting paid because Sierra England, they kind of talk people into doing the lease purchase.
Yeah.
Where it's, you're going to make so much money. And nowadays you can. Back then, like, I was in the lease purchase with them, and I was probably, like, I was living off cash advances just to eat. You could give like $100 cash advance every week. And so I would basically, like, minimize those, like, ramen and, those little tuna lunches because I had, I was out here running miles. They were taking all theirs off the top, like the fuel, the truck payment. And then I went with Schneider, and we still had a joint account, but I would be parked at the truck stop after just getting paid, and I would go in to try to I would get stuck there for a night because they were like, yeah, we don't have any loads in the area. You need to go ahead and park, and we're going to try to find you something. I'm like, all right, So I'm thinking, hey, well, I just got paid. I'm going to go into the restaurant and grab something to eat. I go in there to try to pay, and of course they're like, yeah, it's declined. I'm like, what the hell? I log into my account, and it's like, had like $3 to my name when I initially had like 800 or 1,000 or something, and I'm like, what the fuck? And I look, and there's like, hey, look, there's like $120 to this, and 150 to that, and there's groceries, and there's $80 in like takeout or whatever, and I'm calling the wife, fighting with her, and like, what the hell, what's going on? She said, you just need to trust that I know what I'm doing, and I'm like, yeah, okay, but so fast forward to. We have our separate accounts, and she's fighting with me. And I'm like, love, like, I don't think you realize that there were days out there on the road that I was fucking starving. She said, what are you talking about? I'm like, yeah, there were times on the road that you spent all the money in the account doing what you had to, quote, you had to do at home. Like, I had to trust you or whatever. But then I was eating, like, tuna lunches, ramen, and she goes, I had no idea. I'm like, I told you back then, but you just didn't listen. So it's like, we have separate accounts now, and I don't, like, we coordinate together, hey, it's like we have to take care of something, or if I need her help on something, or if she needs my help on something. But otherwise, like, she'll do what she feels she has to do, like pay such and such bill, order such and such for the house or whatever, to replenish stuff like food for the cats or get groceries or something. And then I'm paying the bills every week to pay down the debts and whatnot. So it's like, it works for us because that way it's like, you know, she could budget how she wants to budget, which a lot of times she'll be like, crap, I'm broke. Like, well, maybe order less packages. I don't know. But, you know what it is? Where, like, I order stuff if I have this stuff I absolutely need. Like, I rarely ever have packages showing up for myself, but, like, there's always packages every week showing up for her. I mean, yeah, most of it's stuff for the house and stuff. I understand, but it's still like, I'm like, you know, you realize like most of the stuff that shows up is for you. Even the kids are like, yeah, Mom got another package again today. Like, yeah. I was like, oh well, you know, it's like, I just look at it as, hey, that's you know, that's her deal. That's hers. You know, whatever she wants to do. You know, like I pay the rent and you know get the things mostly paid or whatever. It's like just gotta just gotta work with it or whatever. But like I told her, I was like, it came to a point where I was like, I can't be out here and be broke because I always have shit I need to get, and I need to, you know, it's really hard to do a long trip, like a round trip, if you're starving and you can't get like caffeine or whatever. Like you'll be miserable out here, you know.
Yeah.
You go to a truck stop to get fuel, and you can't go in and get food. You can just go hit the bathroom because you don't have money to get anything to eat. So it's like, well, I wish I at least had crackers.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember my parents had a falling out one time about money. Man, you know, communication, especially good communication, is really good. You know, they had it to where, you know, my dad took care of certain bills, my mom took care of certain bills, and she
Yeah.
couldn't afford to take care of the bills. But of course, my dad wasn't easy to talk to or anything like that.
Right.
And so she ended up getting a credit card trying to deal with it. And I remember she ended up racking up like $5,000
Oh man.
in debt, trying to, you know, pay stuff like that. And, you know, I remember they went in the room and they had some conversation or whatever, you know, but I just remember about the first part before they went in the room. And then of course, you know, but my dad was pissed, but he never made it easy on her for like, you know, if she needed something. Cause, you know, the thing is with a marriage and stuff, you know, people can have their separate monies and stuff, but when it comes down to it, you know, if it's a bill and a necessity, it's got to get paid, whether one person pays it or the other, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. Of course. And I think like, when we moved up here to Missouri or whatever, we haven't been on food stamps in forever. Like this is the first time in like probably probably like 12, 15 years or whatever. You know, we
Mm-hmm.
moved up here. We got the house paid for. You know, because I basically got my disability with the VA, basically covering rent. So I already had planned everything out. Like, all right, we're gonna do this. This is how we're gonna do this. Whatever. But you know, when we came up here, I knew where I was gonna be working. I knew I had my current job lined up already. They already knew I was coming up here. I just told them I didn't know when I was going to start, though, that I was going to come up here and take a little bit of time off because I hadn't taken any kind of time off for, like, a year. So I was like, yeah, when I get up there to Kansas, or to Missouri, I'm going to, you know, I'm going to take some downtime, chill out, whatever. They're like, oh, that's understandable. Yeah, they'll probably let us know when you want to start. You know, here's the number to the manager that you're going to be dealing with. You know, he's the one that deals with the local routes or whatever. I'm like, okay, you know. So I went ahead and I applied for food stamps. You know, mainly because I thought temporarily you get on food stamps, get on our feet, and then, you know, I automatically I was out, you know, approaching it like I don't want to be on it full time, like permanently.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to be on it for a little bit to give us the food help for like a couple months or whatever. And it has been helpful, you know, but of course now then my wife got a job it took her like 2 months of interviewing at places before she finally got hired. My youngest, she gets school credit actually for like working a job.
Really?
That's why she was applying, mainly because she wanted to also have her own money, but she also wanted that she could probably graduate earlier. I'm thinking with her, you know, her working or whatever, she might actually graduate a little bit earlier. So it's like, but then my oldest, I think she literally, it's been 6 months, she literally just now, well, I mean, she had other jobs she technically got hired for, but then they never started her. Like, she went to orientation and they never put her on the schedule. She's like, I don't know what's going on, man. Went to one where the boss, like, 3 days in, I think I told you guys about it. She worked at, like, Papa Murphy's for, like, 3 days, and she did, like, she shorted the cheese a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Putting cheese on a pizza, and the owner came out and screamed at her, like, do you even want this job? And she's like, good fucking Lord, chill the fuck out. And, you know, like, she quit pretty much instantly, and I was like, don't get me wrong, I don't want you to quit, but I also don't want you to get abused at work, so, like, I don't want you to go back there I don't want you to feel obligated to go back to that job.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because obviously, like, you deserve better, to be talked to better, especially by a fucking owner of the business. You know, you're brand new, you've only been there 3 days. Doesn't make sense to be like, to get screamed at like that.
Yeah.
So she's recently got hired at Five Below. Not a lot of hours, but it's like she starts on the first, and it's a morning shift, and it's seasonal apparently. And I said, well, that'll, you know, once you work through the holiday and stuff, and they see that you're dependable, you'll probably get in there permanently, you know. But you know, it's like taking what you're saying about you know, that they have to work together, whatever. It's not just, it is our money. I know they say it's, well, you know, like, her money is her money, my money is her money, and then the people are like, well, you know, got my money and her money.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah, it's separate, but, you know, like, if, you know, something needs to be taken care of, obviously, like, she'll just, you know how the other half will just, like, hey, your total is this, and the other half doesn't have to say anything, they just look over at you.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, you know, so you whip out your wallet or whatever to pay the, yeah, oh, I got it, I guess, you know. But, but we're in our last month of food stamps or whatever, because I think we got that a couple months back where they sent in that letter for like, hey, we're going to review it.
Yeah.
And it's like, I know that I'm technically working, and now my wife's working, now my youngest daughter's working, so I automatically didn't figure on sending them any documentation back this month. I'm like, I'm just not going to respond, so that way it'll just close out. Especially, I mean, they got the new stuff. They're changing things with the food stamps anyway. You know, so I'm like, well, I'm not trying to be on it permanently, so I'm just gonna let it go. But we went in there and did groceries like on Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because we finally got that. We usually would get them on the 3rd, but because of the government stuff, we finally got them on this last weekend.
Yeah.
And so I think we had like 500 or 600 on the card, which is pretty awesome. And so we went to the store across the street. We went ahead and did somewhat of a big shopping trip. They're a little more expensive over there. So like, we go to Aldi's, $600 would actually, or 500 or 600 would actually get a hell of a lot of stuff. But Price Chopper, you know, it's like Kroger or Publix. You know, you can get a decent amount of stuff, but you know, not anywhere near where you can get a Publix or like Aldi's or whatever. So,
Yeah.
but they had this deal where it's like you get like reward points per, like 1 point per every dollar you spend at the store. So we had a couple thousand points on the card because like you could use it for like gas or whatever, but that Price Chopper doesn't have the gas station.
Mm.
So it's like that one that we go to doesn't have it. So it's like you know, we had a couple thousand points that we just weren't using for anything. We were just racking them up. Well, we passed the turkeys, you know, and there's like they had a little thing up like use like cash out 1200 points for a free turkey up to $25. And we're like, really? I was like, okay. My wife got a free turkey from work, but it's one of those where she brought it home and she's like, hey, I got a free turkey. It's like 12 pounds. I'm like, we have a house full of 5, and she's planning to have Thanksgiving at her mom's, where her sister and her family will also be. Like, a 12-pound turkey is not gonna, it's not gonna last very long. So some of these turkeys that were up to $25 were like 23, 24, 28 pounds, big turkeys. And so it's like, okay, you know, I said screw it. So I grabbed one that was like $19 or something. It was like 24 pounds or so, 23 pounds. big ass turkey, and I'm like, hey, okay, cool, here we go. You know, threw it on the bottom of the cart, and we get up there and we're you know, scanning everything, and you know, I'm watching the totals. You know, when you know how much you have to spend, and they're ringing everything up, and you weren't using the calculator when you're grabbing stuff, so you're just like watching the total come up, and you're like, I hope that we don't go over. Otherwise, I have to randomly select what they're going to take off or whatever. But it's like, I think we had like 615 or something was our actual amount, and then like she's ringing stuff up and giving like 580 something. And I was like, woo, okay, cool. But like, I was like, how does this work with the turkey though? She's like, what do you mean? I'm like, told her about the little sign back there. As I do, like, does it automatically come off? Like, she goes, well, you might have to go to customer service. But then she's like, here, hold it up. Let me go ahead and scan it. And she scanned it, and of course it came up $19, and it says you saved $24.95. I'm like, that math doesn't add up for me because it's $19. I don't save in 25. And then we get to the end, and like it's all food. We didn't get anything that shouldn't be covered by the card. But you know, of course, I swiped the food stamp card, type in the PIN, and it pays for everything. And then of course I'm waiting for the receipt, and I'm looking at her, and she's looking back at me, and I'm like, hey, is it going to print a receipt? She looks back at the computer, goes, and you still have $5 remaining. I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, it was even $5. And like, we looked all over the receipt. The only discrepancy is where we got that turkey that's like $19.95, and they pay, you know, it said we saved $24.95.
Yeah.
So it's like, I'm like, so we saved 25, but then we have to pay that additional 5 because it was actually $19.95. I'm like, that's weird, but like, you know, of course I was like, oh yeah, hold on, let me unlock one of my other cards. I go ahead and I paid the $5. I'm like, okay, but hey, I'll take it. It's still the way it read on the receipt. That turkey is pretty much free, so I was like, all right, cool.
Yeah.
Like, but the state, we had a note, we still had $60 in stamps on our cards. So I don't know, like, we technically, like, the stamps would have covered it, but I'm like, random $5 that the stamps didn't cover that we had to pay out of pocket. I'm like, okay, that's kind of weird, but sure, all right, I'll pay the extra $5. So good thing we didn't get like a $12 turkey. You'd be like, you owe $12. Like,
yeah, I know, right? Well, man, I hate to, but it's almost 2:00 in the morning here, and so I gotta. I'm falling asleep.
I got you. Yeah, I was telling Rico, Rico and I were talking about because we talking random like food topics and stuff, and he's like, oh man, we should make another segment with you, me, and Barry about like random like food critic type stuff, like foods we've tried, restaurants, whatever. And I was like, sure, that sounds good.
Oh yeah.
So.
Oh yeah, I love talking food.
Just a matter of trying to coordinate with him because I know like you're up late, but I know he's like 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock at night. He's usually gone.
I'll be trying to go to sleep, but man, I got so much in my head right now. You know, I can't sleep, and then like I said, I did like a midnight walk, and then talking with you helped clear the head too, and so it's yeah. But during the day, man, like or you know, you said I think y'all starting like 7 or 8 our time. Any day except for on Thursdays, because I got to take my daughter to basketball practice. So like any day except Thursday, just y'all let me know and we can schedule and make a plan.
I got you. Yeah, because I'm out here from like 5:30, 6 o'clock at night till and I get back at like 5 a.m. Monday through Saturday. So it's like pretty much any of those days.
So yeah, we'll
it's a matter of getting Rico up, like keeping Rico up late.
Yeah, and so talk with Rico and see what he says, and then because it's like I said, I'm pretty flexible with it, and so just y'all come up with a time and a day, and I'll be there.
Sounds good, man. But yeah, I appreciate you popping on again and stuff because I was like, hey, talking late at night helps me to kind of focus a little bit too.
Oh yeah, man. Being on the road, especially alone, man. Sometimes radio and the just books and stuff ain't enough.
Yep. All right, man. Well, appreciate you hopping on again, and we'll catch up with Rico and figure something out. Hell, I told him even doing more than it doesn't even have to be just one night a week. It'd be like once or twice. Have couple recordings backed up,
Yeah. That sounds good. Yeah. I mean, yeah, we can talk about it and get up, and then, we can schedule it, make a plan, and then get it done,
Yep. All
'Cause
right,
we can talk
man.
about food, we can talk about games, movies, books, whatever.
Well, we'll figure still the keep it real segment, but then maybe having a different one where we connect for I don't know what we'd call it. We'd have to figure something out, like what we're gonna talk about, whatever. Because he and I were talking about Culver's and whatnot.
Yeah. I told him about Culver's, and 'cause my daughter loves Culver's.
Yeah, he's questioning me on the mushroom swim. And I'm like, no, dude, you gotta try it, man.
Yeah.
So, all right, man. Well, go get some sleep, and we'll catch you on the next one.
All right, buddy. Appreciate you.
Yep, later.
Later.
All right, so hope you guys enjoyed that segment of the Keep It Real segment. Basically, my schedule went from coming in at 2 a.m. to getting loaded between 5 and 6 p.m. and basically getting back to the hub in Kansas between 3 and 5. Getting home by 6:30, so it's like, yeah, it's a complete change. So I wasn't sure how things were going to play out with the current episodes, with the keeping it real and with the raw chat, but surprisingly, heard from Barry and we got this episode recorded. And then a couple hours after I heard from Barry, I got a call from my buddy Dave. So we got a few recordings, and got this week and next week for the not just the keeping it real, but the raw chat. So on that note, hope you guys have a good rest of your week. I am working on trying to get the blogitshow.com website back up, getting a support link set up. So I'm trying to see what we can do there, but you guys just hang with me as we figure this out, and stay tuned for the raw chat.